Hello and welcome to the show. Now, before you invest in property, make sure you're up to date with your local property market.
Yes, get that due diligence done. It really is very easy these days with everything available online. No excuses.
Yes, but before you do that, it doesn't stop there, by the way. You do need to view the property, you have to read the legal pack, and that's before you buy your next home under the hammer.
Well, when the hammer falls at auction, you could have bagged yourself a property bargain.
Yes, maybe not. You could have got carried away with auction fever.
Yeah, so did today's buyers get a great deal or spend too many pennies? Let's find out. The rain isn't putting Jackie off in South London.
This is outside space in South Wimbledon. Brilliant.
Tommy's looking for a buddy in Barwell, Leicestershire.
I just want to go inside and have a look at where that buddleia's growing out the roof. That ain't right.
And in Larkville, Kent, I can't see the wood for the trees. The first thing I'm going to suggest is getting rid of them. All these properties have been sold at auction, and we'll find out who bought them and what they paid for them when they went under the hammer.
Yes, we are. That's yours.
We now head to South London and Collier's Wood. With great transport links into central London, it's a popular spot for first-time buyers, young families and commuters alike.
So we're just 8 minutes walk away from the nearest tube station at South Wimbledon, making this a great location for commuters looking for easy access into central London. Plus, there's a busy main street just down the road there with all the amenities that you need. Now, the property I'm here to see had an auction guide price of £280,000, and it's the ground floor flat in this rather fine-looking Victorian terrace building. I really like all the original decorative features and mouldings, which look really stunning. I think with a bit of a spruce up, this could have great curb appeal. I'm hoping it's appealing on the inside. Oh. It's good to get out of the rain. OK, so you know what I love is that they've got their own entrance, so they're all self-contained, which is great. And into the front reception room. How lovely is this? Nice high ceilings. I love these large windows, so letting in lots and lots of light. Look at this fireplace. It's quite grand, isn't it? I really like that. I do hope they keep it. I've got central heating, I can see it over there, which is good. One of those sockets there looking a little bit skew-if. Maybe check out the electrics. But on the whole, this just needs a little bit of a refresh. Not bad. So down the hallway, you have got your bedroom, a nice size, once again, lots of light going through. And look at this. This is a big space under here. So this is obviously underneath the stairs. That's a really handy, big area. Very good. And then into the kitchen. It's nice and bright and not bad. Yes, it's a little bit outdated, a little bit tired, but the hob and the oven, they look fairly new. And then I can see there's a bathroom to the other side. I'm not a fan of the bathroom off the kitchen, but that just reminds me of something I read in the auction catalogue, which states you could turn this into a 2-bedroom unit by moving the bathroom. Well, how would that work? Well, I'm thinking you could move that bathroom here. Plenty of space to do that. So then that means you'd create a 2nd bedroom. But for me, I would probably knock down this wall and create one large kitchen diner. You'd have your French doors leading out to the garden. That would be perfect. Well, that's all well and good, but there's a snag. In fact, there are a couple of snags.
This 1-bed maisonette may be dated, but it's in good condition, and you've got some great options to maximise the space that's on offer. The fireplace and high ceilings add to its charm, as does the view of the private garden space from the bedroom. any outside space in London is a real bonus, especially with a flat. So a whole host of positives. But we better hear about those snags before we get too excited.
Well, the first one is that the person who buys this property will be the leaseholder and not the freeholder. So that means you will have to seek written permission from the freeholder if you want to make those layout changes and create that second bedroom, or indeed create a kitchen diner. You just got to hope that the freeholder likes your plans and says, yes, go ahead. Now, the second snag is that there's currently just 82 years left to run. That seems like a lifetime, but it isn't, not in property terms. In fact, it could affect your mortgageability as well as the value of your investment. So lots to think about there. So out into the garden. Yeah, it's a little bit overgrown, but according to the auction catalogue, you have got a private section of the garden, which is this side. You've got stairs leading down from the top floor flat for their section of the garden. Put a fence there for privacy. You could have this as your lawn section, this section here as your patio section, almost like a little courtyard garden. But you know what? This is outside space in South Wimbledon. Brilliant.
With only 82 years left on the lease, any potential buyer should do their research on how easy that is going to be to extend. But with a guide price of $280,000, I'd say this little flat offers a great opportunity to get your hands on a London property without the usual London price tag. We've invited along a local estate agent to tell us about the area and to see what he makes of this lot.
So Colliers Wood, up and coming. Tooting has now really become gentrified, and Colliers Wood is arguably the next area that will do the same. We're quite close to Wimbledon on the one side, obviously Tooting the other. We have the Tube around the corner, less than 8 minutes walk away. And obviously the great thing about a Tube here in London is it's every 3 minutes, so no worry about missing that train in the morning.
With all that going for it, does it get the seal of approval?
I think it's a great little flat, really like it. Outdoor space these days, more and more at a premium here in London. People will love that. I think the layout's quite nice. And as far as the flat's concerned, not much to do. You really could move in. Having said that, some modernisation is required, particularly the bathroom, and some damp problems coming through the wall there.
What would he suggest is the best course of action to get the most out of this maisonette?
For me, I like this flat as a one-bedroom flat. It's practical and purposeful. I think it would be really tight to make it into a two-bedroom, would also require the freeholder's permission, and could be quite expensive. So for me, it's best left in its current form, but modernised, particularly working on the bathroom and smartening up the kitchen.
So what does he think this place could be worth once the extension on the lease is obtained and the place is brought back up to scratch?
I think as a one-bedroom flat, this property could sell on the open market for £400,000. It would rent for £1,500 per calendar month. As a two-bedroom property, this would resell for £450,000 and would rent for £1,800 per calendar month.
So this property has great potential because you could create a second bedroom, or you could knock through that kitchen and create a kitchen diner, thus adding value to the property. And if you gave it a high-spec finish, even better. But remember, there's the issue of the short lease. Plus, if you were to make any internal changes, you will have to get written permission from the freeholder. So I really hope whoever's bought this property has read that legal pack thoroughly, so there are no surprises. Time to find out who that was when it went under the hammer.
This lot was part of a remote auction with bids taking place online.
Well done. Sold to the internet.
Going £22,000 over the guide price, the successful bid was made by Robert, who paid £302,000 for this one-bedroom maisonette. Robert is a restaurateur-turned-property developer, and is no stranger to the auction house. This will be his third property bought at auction. Jackie caught up with Robert to find out what he had planned for project number 3.
Robert, it's lovely to meet you, and congratulations.
Thank you.
And then what's your background? Have you always been in property?
No, what inspired me was your programme, Home, Sun and Hammer, and I always sit on the sofa. My wife always moaned at me why you keep watching telly. So it was your programme mainly, and it gave me the shove. Yeah, I went for it.
I'm so glad we could have been of service to you. Yeah. And what about the legal pack? Did you read that, Robert?
This time I did, but the first one I didn't properly, and ended up paying extra £10,000. The budget ran out, so I had to roll up my sleeves and had to paint the whole 3-bedroom semi myself. It was a lot of work.
Oh my God! And that's purely because you didn't follow the golden rule.
Yes.
Of reading the legal pack.
Robert learned from his past mistakes and made sure to read the legal pack thoroughly this time around. So he was well aware when he bought the place that the lease would need extending. This is a process he has already started looking into. He's also hoping to get permission from the leaseholder to turn this 1-bed into a 2-bed flat.
I will try. So that first of all, I have to seek the permission from the landlord to see if I can take down the partition wall of the toilet and relocate the toilet to under the staircase and become one of the bedrooms, and the back one be a second bedroom. The kitchen would be a small kitchen diner.
Oh, I see. I admire you because that's quite a challenge. So I wanted to talk about the garden. So it's a shared section.
Yes.
Which is really nice in London to have any outside space. But it isn't bad. What are your plans for that?
I was thinking put all new fences.
Definitely.
Higher, so there's more privacy, and have it all paved up. So people can have barbecue in the summer or have tables, an umbrella outside, a bit outdoor space.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. It is a real bonus. And what about your budget?
My budget is around 20,000.
Yeah.
To change it into 2-bed with contingency of 5,000. If the landlord wouldn't let me take the wall down, it stays as a 1-bed, I still would change the bathroom, kitchen and all the other things. That would be hopefully come under around 15,000.
And then what about timescale?
Hopefully within 2 months, so depending on the permission from the landlord.
Are you going to rent it or sell it out?
I will sell it and move on to the next one.
And move on to the next one. Have you really got another one in mind?
No, but I always keep an eye out on the auction catalogues to get the feel how the market is, where it's going.
I'm going to keep my fingers crossed that everything goes according to plan. So thanks very much.
Thank you.
So this is Robert's 3rd property, and he's planning to make some layout changes. Well, he said he's up for a challenge. But will he get an extension on that leasehold? Also, how much will that eat into his budget? Because remember, he does want to transform this place, but he also wants to make a profit. You can find out how that all turns out later in the show.
And now to the childhood home of Arnold George Dorsey, or as you may know him, Engelbert Humperdinck and Leicester. Tommy's 20 minutes west of the city centre in the village of Barwell.
La, 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 la. I'm right in the heart of the village, so it may not be the quietest place to live, but for an advantage, you've got all the amenities you could possibly want, all within walking distance. And the property I'm here to see is a 2-bedroom maisonette, and it's down the bottom of this alleyway.
And this maisonette came with a guide price of £37,000 plus.
Right. Well, the maisonette I want is up here, and I think there's a good chance that this shed might go with this flat, because there's 4 properties and 4 sheds. And it looks as if there needs to be some work done on the roof. La, 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 la. This is a very spacious-looking property. I'm impressed. I just want to go inside and have a look at where that buddleia's growing out the roof. That ain't right. Smells of damp. Yep, got some plaster issues there, look. And as I look up, straight through that gap in the ceiling, There's obviously some water getting in, hence the damp walls. Fixing the roof should take priority. What a lovely sized room. This is proper, large master bedroom. Now this is the gable end wall with a property next door, and there is some issues with water getting in. So fix the roof, then do the repairs. Oh, and look at that view. This is a room with a view. Imagine waking up to that view in the morning. Wonderful. Wow, what a big room this is. This is the largest room of the whole flat, and it makes an ideal reception room. It's got a fireplace in there. And then we're into the kitchen. Small, compact, but it can work. It would be a thought that to take this wall out, right the way through there, take this wall out, and then the corridor becomes part of the room. You can have a big kitchen, dining, living space. It would be huge. And just put a lobby and keep the bathroom down the far end. But all the rest of the space will come into play. Just planting the seed, if you like, putting it out there. All right, let's check out the bathroom. Well, that's interesting. This shows that at one time, these two properties were one. But I don't think this is a really successful way of boarding off access. This needs to come out, be blocked up permanently. And we're in the bathroom, which is smallish, but still doable. Or, if you want to consider taking that wall out and doing the reconfiguration, this hallway part could become part of the bathroom. And if you did that, then you could have a great big walk-in shower. And this could be a luxury bathroom. But you have to do the figures. If it stacks up and it's worth doing it, the extra cost, then away you go. But if not, then make the best of what you've got.
Before anyone thinks of splashing the cash on this lot, let's get the thoughts of a local property expert. We've asked along an estate agent from the auction house that sold it to hear his thoughts.
It's in an old Victorian-type terrace house, which has been converted, but it's got good sized rooms, obviously needs some renovation works, but in essence, it'll make a nice property.
What would he say are the biggest issues needing to be tackled here?
The biggest problem that you're going to have to sort out first is the roof. After that, you've still got a full comprehensive refurb.
There is a mention in the legal pack of quite a short lease of only 66 years left on this property. What sorts of problems does he think this could pose?
Currently, the lease is 66 years, which is slightly on the low side. It will make it difficult if they're going to resell the property, as it is harder to get finance on short leasehold properties. Another option is to extend the lease, but obviously you've got the cost involved in that.
How much would a buyer roughly have to budget for such an expense?
Extending the lease, there's not any set costs on something like this. I would expect it to probably be in the region of about £10,000. So you have got that cost to extend it. However, that will add value to the property, and it will also make the resale a lot easier.
So what sales and rental figures would he place on this property once all the renovation work had been completed?
Once renovated, I'd expect the resale value of the property to be between £85,000 and £90,000. And from a rental perspective, I'd be looking at £550 per calendar month.
This masonette's a bit deceiving. It's very, very large on the inside. I know there's loads of work to be done, but there is one overriding issue, and that is there's only 66 years left on the lease. Now, mortgage lenders normally like to lend on a lease property when it's got over 70 years, so this might only appeal to cash buyers. So who fancied the challenge when it went under the hammer?
This lot was part of a remote auction, with bids taking place online.
Yes, we are. That's yours.
And the successful bidders who got the lot for £47,000 were Steve and his two sons, Hayden, who's up front, and Cameron, who's striding up behind him. Brothers on the slide. And it's the brothers who have popped along today to fill Tommy in on their plans.
Well, first of all, Hayden and Cameron, can I congratulate you on your successful purchase?
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I hope you don't think I'm too cheeky when I say I'm very surprised because you look too young to be getting into developing. Can you tell me how that happened, that you decided that you wanted to be, I presume you're going to be developers, or is this for you to live in?
No, this is develop, yeah. So my granddad passed in January and left us a decent sum of money each. So together with Dad, we've decided to put it all into this house and potentially like go into developing in the future. This is almost like a tester for us.
Fantastic. So there's you two and your dad, and his name is?
Steve.
Steve. So you've all put money in to get this flat, and you're going to do it up and sell it on or rent it?
Depends on the sort of pricing that we get. If we end up putting a little bit too much money into it and the profit doesn't look right, then we'll rent it. If not, then we're looking to sell it and then move on to another one if we can.
Spoken like a true professional. Really good that you're thinking like that ahead of time. Were you happy with what you paid?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, we had a budget of 55 that we were willing to go up to, so we were quite happy to get it for 47.
Oh, right. And what sort of budget have you allocated for the refurbishment?
All in, we were hoping, including selling costs and everything, we were hoping 75 probably to be the top end of what we were looking at.
Is that including the purchase?
Including the purchase, yeah.
I was going to say, that's a big budget for the refurb.
No, including purchase, selling costs and all that sort of thing, we were hoping 75,000. About 10,000 of that is we need to change the lease because the lease only has, was it?
66 years.
Yeah, so we've contacted the leaseholder and we believe that we've got that sorted, but it will cost towards 10,000 or around that sort of thing to sort that out.
And that will give you 125 years?
Yes.
Again?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's money well spent, though, because if you're going to make the effort to make this into a learning curve and a really nice-looking flat, I think that you need to extend the lease. I think that's a good policy.
This might be the brothers' first foray into property development, but they've got big ideas, agreeing with Tommy that the space will benefit from being opened up. They're planning to switch the bathroom and kitchen around, and they want to lose the wall between the hall, kitchen and living room. Cameron is going to be carrying out most of the work, but Hayden and Dad Steve will help too. They've given themselves 3 to 4 months to get it all wrapped up.
Well, how comes, Cameron, you're going to be doing most of the work? Are you in the building trade?
No, I'm a part-time uni student. I'm doing it part-time rather than Hayden's doing it full-time. And I'm also a stay-at-home dad, so I've got a lot more free time.
Oh, it's a way of you getting out as well, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
And remember now, no holidays. No, Hayden, so no holidays until you're finished. All your holiday time's got to be up here.
Yeah, that's fine.
Getting this place right.
Yeah, 100%.
It's going to be a good learning experience for you, and I'm really looking forward to seeing the end result.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, well, those two as well.
Are you as excited about it?
Oh, yeah,
definitely. Yeah.
And what about Dad?
Yeah, yeah, I'd say he's excited about it, yeah. I think he's looking forward to working on a project with us as well.
Well, congratulations on the purchase, as I said, and I look forward to seeing the results of your hard labour and your ideas, and I wish you every success.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Good luck. What about those two lads, Hayden and Cameron? You have to admire them. With the help of their dad, Steve, I know he's going to keep them on the straight and narrow. But it just goes to show you, if the ambition's there, go with it. But will they get done in time? Will they get done on budget? And importantly, will they get the lease extension? You can find out how well they do later in the show.
Coming up, puzzling times for me in Larkfield.
It's like strange, you've got a lock on the door. Now, that's the sort of thing you'd expect to see in maybe a rental property. Just adds to the kind of mystery of the house.
And the boys are thinking big in Barwell.
The long-term plan is to build up a portfolio. We have a very ambitious plan of 20 in 5 years.
But now it's time to head back to Collier's Wood in southwest London, to this one-bedroom ground floor maisonette that Jackie found to be quite charming.
How lovely is this? Nice high ceilings. I love these large windows, so letting in lots and lots of light. Look at this fireplace. It's quite grand, isn't it? I really like that. I do hope they keep it.
It wasn't just the inside that had Jackie smiling. The property also came with a private section of the garden, which just needed a little TLC.
You could have this as your lawn section, this section here as your patio section, almost like a little courtyard garden. But you know what? This is outside space in South Wimbledon. Brilliant.
You're smiling.
And someone else who thought it was brilliant was Robert, who made the successful bid of £302,000.
What inspired me was your programme, Home Sun and Hammer, and I always sit on the sofa. My wife always moaned at me why you keep watching telly. So it was your programme mainly, and it gave me the shove. Yeah, I went for it.
I'm so glad we could have been of service to you.
Robert wanted to change around the layout of the flat, but first had to seek permission from the freeholder. But if granted, he was excited to get stuck in.
Are you always up for a challenge, normally?
Yes, always jump in at the deep end, but doesn't always come out the right way.
Well, fingers crossed this time it had. He had a maximum budget of £25,000 and a timescale of 2 months to get the work done. So, has he been successful? We're back 9 months later to find out. Some fresh paint and new flooring has made the property so much brighter. Unfortunately, Robert didn't receive permission to change the layout, so it has stayed as a one-bed flat. But as per Jackie's advice, Robert has kept the fireplace in the living room. A new kitchen's been installed, as well as a new bathroom. New double-glazed windows have been installed throughout, and the flat has been rewired and replumbed. Outside, new fencing has been put up, and the weeds have been dug out and replaced with pebbles, creating a low-maintenance garden space with a fresh new look. So, how has the project been for Robert?
My original plans were to relocate the toilet, take down the wall, and make it in a small kitchen diner. We have waited 6 months, almost 7 months, for freeholder permission. We have no response. And in the end, I had to quickly renovate as a one-bed. If it was 2-bed, I preferred. But as a one-bed, it's more spacious. We have a separate living room, bedroom, and in future we could, maybe, with any response from the freeholder, we still have a chance to make it into a 2-bed and relocate the toilet under the staircase.
Apart from not being able to get the permission to turn this into a 2-bed, did Robert come across any other problems during the renovation?
Yes, the builder have discovered there was a leak within the pipes behind the wall in the shower. We did hack off the plasterwork. We realised the previous owners, instead of fixing the problem, they put 3 layers of plasterboard on top of each other and the porcelain tiles. So we had to take it all off, replace it all, fixed, and now there shouldn't be any more problems.
A Section 42 notice is in place on this maisonette, so Robert has the legal right to extend the short lease, but he is yet to receive the documentation. So, 9 months down the line, he is still trying to resolve that issue. Does he at least have an idea of how much the extension will cost him?
Last time I recall the extension from the freeholder was around £15,000, and we managed to negotiate down to about £12,000. But we still need documentation, which we didn't have.
So a lot of Robert's project has felt like a waiting game. This obviously affected his timescale, as he waited nearly 7 months to start any work. But once the work was finally underway, thanks to a dedicated team of builders, it only took 4 weeks. But how did he get on with his budget of £25,000?
We ended up spending around the 27 mark, because once you started opening up the floors and walls and toilets and kitchen, we decided why not just go the full renovation to make it easier, rewire, replumb, everything.
His original plan was to sell the flat on. Is this still the case?
Yes, originally I wanted to sell the property and move on to the next project. The market was a bit slow after the free stamp duty finished, so I've decided to keep the property as it's a very good location and the rental has gone up.
Robert is now planning on renting the maisonette out. But will hearing the latest valuations make him change his mind again? We've invited back the estate agent from our first visit to find out what he thinks of the renovation.
Well, the selling features of this flat are the fact that it's very bright, very centrally located, has a really practical layout, and as a one-bedroom flat, feels really well put together. A flat like this appeals broadly because it's got the first-time buyer appeal. Critically, it's got the outside space, which we all crave, and it's got it all, really.
The agent sounds impressed, but will Robert's extra spending be worth it? What could this one-bed flat achieve on the rental market?
I think this flat would rent for £1,500 per calendar month.
Yeah, I'm very happy. We got something very near. Tenant moving in the next few days, and the figures are 1,475.
Robert seems happy with that yield of around 5.5%, and it's great that he has some tenants already lined up. But could the sales figures make him regret his decision to rent? As Robert's in the process of extending the lease, what does the agent think this place could be worth once the extension is in place?
I think this flat would sell for £400,000.
Didn't expect that. I was expecting something just under 400.
That potential pre-tax profit of £71,000, minus whatever it ends up costing to extend the lease, has exceeded Robert's expectations, and he's open to the idea of selling at a later stage. So overall, how is he feeling?
Extremely happy, and definitely will look for the next one.
This is Larkfield near Maidstone in Kent, and I like its rather literal name. It comes from the large number of skylarks found in the area, so I'm on Skylark watch today. No joy yet, but I am on the lookout. And on that note, 2 estates were built here in 1961, where lots of the streets were named after species of birds and trees. Time to find out if the property I'm here to see leaves me flying high.
Well, a 5-minute walk from the local shops in this nice residential area is the property I'm here to see. It is a 2-bed end of terrace at a guide price of £190,000 to £200,000. This is it. You can't quite see it because of all these trees. So the first thing I'm going to suggest is getting rid of them. So we've got a rabbit in the garden. We've got a rabbit on the number plate. We've got a rabbit on the door. There seems to be a theme going on. You guess what it is? I'm trying to think. You know, canine is doggy, feline's catty. What's rabbit? Rabbity. Whatever. There's a rabbity theme going on. It feels very much of the era of this kind of property. We've got that kind of like stuff on the ceilings, quite low. It's dark, and the layout isn't particularly working for me. You've got this main room here, which is sort of got a sort of through kind of feel to it, so dual aspect. The kitchen in here is absolutely microscopic. I mean, I'm going to say this wall, get rid of it. That'll be much better then, or you're going to have to do a bit of playing around, moving radiators and stuff. Then you come through here into what I guess is an extension. A little cat flappy thing over there. Well, maybe it's a rabbit flap. Yeah, anyway, this kind of like little kitchen extension kind of thing going on here. This isn't too bad. It's not got a particularly, what I would class as a proper roof.
And while we're on the subject of the roof, there's some solar panels up there. They'll require a bit of investigation to find out whether they're rented or owned outright. I'll stop rabbiting on now and hop upstairs.
So upstairs, and in some ways this works better than downstairs. You've got the loo there. I mean, I think you could salvage some of the stuff that's in there, although for the sake of it, I'd still say just redo it. Then you're starting afresh, which is good. So back bedroom there, and then your main master bedroom, it's a double. At the front, it's not a bad size. It's slightly strange that you've got a lock on the door. Now, that's the sort of thing you'd expect to see in maybe a rental property. So somebody could then sort of lock this off and store their stuff in it. But, you know, just adds to the kind of mystery of the house.
Another mystery is how big is the rabbit that's burrowing at the back of this house?
Well, here at the rear of the property, it's quite interesting. As you can see over there, lots of building work is going on. And if you check with the local authority planning website, you'll discover that there is actually houses being built there. That's definitely something you should know about before you buy this property. Will it affect it? Well, it might. Depends what the plans are. In terms of what this leaves in terms of the garden, it's a little bit weird. It sort of comes at a kind of strange angle, cuts off into this fence and a middle post there. As you can see, it's quite tiered, so there's a lot of work to do here. And as you know, those kind of outdoor works, they do generally cost more than you think they are going to. But at least you've got a few little friends to help you on the way. Oh.
I like this place. It feels like a good, solid house that has a lot of potential. And a steal at that guide price of $190,000. We've invited along a local estate agent to give us his thoughts and valuations.
My first impressions of this property is it seems an unlikely candidate for an auction sale because it's certainly livable as it is in its present condition, and it's most certainly saleable as it is.
What does he make of the solar panels on the roof?
They can be very advantageous, of course, because they do supplement the power supply considerably, but there's always issues of ownership.
How much does he reckon this property could get on the resale market?
Once this property has been modernised, I would anticipate it selling for something in the region of £270,000.
And how would it fare on the rental market?
Once modernised, I would anticipate the property renting for between £750 to £800 per calendar month.
So, a bit of a quirky little house, but for that guide price of $190,000 to $200,000, yeah, I'd say is an interesting one to go for. Let's see who agreed when it went under the hammer.
It's a well-presented house for improvement, as you can see. 2 bedrooms and a bathroom on the first floor, gas heating, ideal for letting. It's got to be cheap, I'd have thought. Can I say £200,000 to start me? 200,000 I'm looking for. Take 180 to get on the way. 180 seems cheap. 180, can I see? 180 I have. 180 I'm bid. 185 now because you were too late. 185. 190, may I say. 185 to the trellis. 190 I'm looking for. We all done at 185,000. Doesn't seem a lot of money. In Aylesford, 2-bedroom house. 190 I'm bid. 195 now, if you like. 195 do I see? I'll take 2 if it will help. If not, at £190,000, I will be selling it for the first time. £190,000 for the second time. Not another 2 anywhere from either of you. At £190,000 to the hand, then for the third and final time, all done, £190,000.
That successful bid of $190,000 was made by Matt and his dad, Malcolm. I met Matt, Malcolm and Mum Judy back at the house. While Judy was having a look around, I caught up with Matt and Malcolm for a Run-Rabbit rundown of their plans for the place.
Malcolm, Matt, good to see you both.
It's nice to see you.
Good to see you. Congratulations. Yeah. Tell me why you wanted to buy this house, then.
Basically, it's because it's in Larkfield. It's an area where I used to live.
Yeah. And this house, the state it's in, didn't bother you? You just wanted to be in the area more than anything else?
I wanted to be in the area. My family live close by, and it was a perfect location to be.
Right, OK. So, Dad, what do you think of the house?
I think it's fabulous.
Yeah.
I think it really... When we first looked at it, me and Jude saw it, and we will
That's
say...
your wife?
Yes,
yeah.
Me and Jude, my wife. Matt hadn't seen it. He got called into work for an emergency meeting.
Yes, that's right.
So he didn't see the house. We saw it for him.
Right.
And
all the way up through the auction?
I just went by the photographs.
And what your mum and dad said? That was that. So tell me what you're going to do to it.
Obviously, it needs redecorating, as you can see.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to put another kitchen in. And there's an old back door in the kitchen there, there is. And we're going to get rid of that and brick it up and put a nice large window in so the light comes into the kitchen.
That's good.
Some of the bathroom will be dealt with, it doesn't need a great deal. The house really needs redecorating, as you can see, Martin. It's all dark. Well, you can imagine when these colours go, what it's going to be like with lighter colours.
Yeah.
Those trees will be going.
Right.
They knock out a lot of light, they do. Yeah. But the rest of the house, I think it's very sound.
So who's going to do the work?
I think that my father will be doing a lot of the work. Hopefully I'll be helping out as well. And so my mum, she wants to put her stamp of authority on there as well.
So with Mum Judy doing the plans and Dad Malcolm doing the work, it sounds like Matt has a pretty solid team of helpers.
No, you've obviously got a lot of building work going on nearby, right next door. Does that concern you, or are you happy to know that that's going ahead?
I think it's going ahead, really, and I think it will be great for it going ahead. It'll be an excellent prospect when it's all done, when all the properties have been done.
Right.
It'll be brilliant.
Yeah, it will sort of tidy up the street a bit.
Yes, definitely.
The house will be the same as this one, be the same height.
Okay.
It's detached, it'll be 3 foot away, and it will mirror image all these houses down here, and there'll be 2 bungalows. And I think you're quite correct, he's going to put the value up, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
Because,
So if you're successful with this project, then another one maybe, or no, says Dad.
I don't think there'll be any more projects. I think it's a great. It was the first time we went to the auctions. It was like staring rabbit in headlights.
Was it?
Really was. It was very much like a whole new concept.
Hopefully Matt's not going to be a rabbit in headlights when it comes to getting stuck in with the paintbrush. What's his budget?
Around about £10,000 would be the budget.
Okay, so calling in favours and help from family.
Definitely,
all that kind of
yeah. Keep all the costs down and everything. Yes.
And what about timescale? Presumably you want to get it done as soon as possible, eh?
well, we do. I mean, I put a time limit on it of 6 months.
6 months? You can do it quicker than that.
Well,
Come
probably
on,
can
Dad.
do, but if I do, at least it gives me a bit. Oh dear, I've got.
I think it gives a little bit less pressure on the time scale. It could be 3 months, but I think getting it 6 months, it gives you a little bit more of a time scale. Anything lapses over, sort of thing. They can.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, listen, congratulations.
Thank
Good
you very
luck.
much.
And
Thank you.
I hope it all turns
Thank
out
you.
great
Yeah.
for you.
Lovely.
Nice to meet you
Thank
both.
Okay.
So it seems Matt's found his dream house, and hopefully, with the help from Dad Malcolm and Mum Judy, he will turn it around into his perfect home. Will they all manage to pull the rabbit out of the hat? You can find out later in the show.
Earlier we saw the conclusion of our first property, but what about the other 2?
Yes, have they stuck to their timescales and budgets? Let's find out. We now head back to Barwell in Leicestershire, where Tommy visited a 2-bedroom maisonette with a guide price of £37,000. And there were some red flags before he'd even stepped through the front door.
And it looks as if there needs to be some work done on the roof.
And the problems with the roof had a knock-on effect inside.
As I look up, I can straight through that gap in the ceiling, and I can see up to the roof, and there's natural light coming through. So there's obviously some water getting in, hence the damp walls.
But there was another dark cloud looming over this property.
There's only 66 years left on the lease. Now, mortgage lenders normally like to lend on a lease property when it's got over 70 years. So this might only appeal to cash buyers.
And the cash buyers who bagged the place for £47,000 were brothers Hayden and Cameron. This was going to be the pair's first go at property development, but don't let their lack of experience fool you. They had done their homework, and Hayden had already read up on the finer details, including the lease.
Yeah, so we contacted the leaseholder and we believe that we've got that sorted, but it will cost towards £10,000 or around that sort of thing to sort that out.
And that will give you 125 years.
Yes.
Again.
But was there enough homework in the world to get them through this project? The pair were financing this enterprise with their inheritance left to them by their granddad. Would they do him proud? They planned for the work to take up to 4 months. Well, it's been 6 months and we're back to see how they've got on. While outside may not look strikingly different, it has had some new double-glazed windows fitted, and they've also replaced the roof, which is still a bit of a work in progress. However, we can confirm it's now shrub-free. And the inside has had a bit of a rejig, as well as a mega facelift. The kitchen now leads off from the living room in what used to be the bathroom and a bit of the old hall. So that means the old kitchen is now a stylish new bathroom. And the master bedroom is free of damp and crumbly walls and has gained a big handy cupboard. The second bedroom has also been cleared of any rubble, and its ceiling is now free of holes. The back of the house is still a bit of a building site, as work continues on the new roof. The boys' timescale went over, but only slightly. Were there any unexpected work or issues that cropped up?
It needed a whole new roof. We had someone come and look at it and it just wasn't serviceable. Obviously there was holes in the roof, so the damp was coming down. But we had issues with downstairs. Didn't want to pay half of the roof. They said that we could buy downstairs with the price of the roof knocked off. That leads us then to buying downstairs as well. So obviously the roof's done, downstairs and upstairs, increased the value of both properties.
Wow, that's an unexpected twist. The boys have not only renovated their first property, but have already purchased their second, scooping up the ground floor flat below. And a very wise choice it could be, as it's allowed them to extend that all-important lease, and it also means the roof repairs benefit them twofold. Speaking of the roof, those repairs must have had a major effect on their budget.
So we did end up spending about £95,000. That does also include the full price of the roof, though. So a lot of that will come off into downstairs' budget when we finally get to that. But a lot of things we didn't expect: full price of the roof, plastering, full woodwork. So we have spent a little bit more than we wanted to, but we still think there's decent money in it for us. So.
That £95,000 includes their £47,000 purchase price for the flat. So they've gone over budget by around 20 grand, but how much of this final figure was spent on extending the lease?
So we paid £6,500 to extend the lease to 125 years, which also means that then came off the price of downstairs.
Nice work. When it came to the actual renovation, though, who got their hands dirty?
So I've done most of the painting, a lot of the clearing out, stuff like that.
So I definitely played more of a supporting role. Mum did a lot of the decorating, design. She picked out the kitchens, the bathrooms, and picked out the colours for the walls and stuff like that. And Dad did a lot of the organising, did really well with getting this tradespeople in.
My mate Oliver came round, gave us a hand when he could. Also his stepdad, he did all the waste clearance for us, stepdad Paul.
And our uncle Dave and our cousin called Anthony, again, came and helped out when they could. So it was good to have the extra help and have friends and family joining in on the project.
What are their plans for the property now?
So our plans for the property, we'll put it on the rental market.
Yeah, because the long-term plan, we set up a private limited company, so the long-term plan is to build up a portfolio. We have a very ambitious plan of 20 in 5 years. Might be a slight stretch, but we're going to go for it. So we do really want to turn this into something big.
The boys have clearly got the bug, and it's great to see they were able to kick off their career in property using inheritance left to them by their granddad. What do they think he would make of what they're doing?
He would be, I think, very proud of the job that we've done here and how we've all worked together as a family as well. I think he'd really have liked that. And the private limited company that we've set up,
it's named after our granddad and his service in the military.
Let's see what a local estate agent makes of the changes to the property. We've invited back the agent from our first visit to give us his thoughts.
They've done a really good job of the renovation to the flat. To be honest, I think when I was first here, I was pretty much happy with the layout, and I wouldn't have changed things myself, but they have changed it. And I must admit, it's worked very well, and the finish has been really nice.
So what sales and rental figures would he place on this property now?
If the property was placed on the open market for sale, I'd expect a sale price around £100,000. If it was going to go for rent, I'd expect a rental figure of around £600 per calendar month.
With the purchase of the property at $47,000 and a spend of $48,000 on the work and legal fees, the family have spent a total of $95,000. So a sale at $100,000 would mean a pre-tax profit of $5,000. They'd pretty much just be breaking even.
So we've had a valuation slightly higher than that. I mean, £100,000 is a bit disappointing, but we've had valuations a lot higher than that.
The boys' independent valuation came in at £125,000, which would see the pair walk away with a much healthier £30,000 pre-tax profit. Our agent's rental valuation of £600 per calendar month would give them a yield of 7.5%. Does that sound more appealing?
Yeah, so I think the rent was more in the region of what we were thinking. We've had 625 to 650, so we'd probably go for that area.
If the boys are able to achieve the slightly higher rent thereafter, that would see their yield increase to 8%. I think they've done an excellent job on their very first property renovation, and having secured their second property already, underneath this first one, their future in property development looks bright. What's next for Cameron and Hayden?
I know we're all going to Vegas on a family holiday, and then we'll be picking up the downstairs and stuff when that gets completed.
Time now to go back down the rabbit hole in Larkfield, Kent, where I visited a two-bedroom semi with a guide price of 190 to 200,000, and it came with some floppy-eared friends.
So we've got a rabbit in the garden, we've got a rabbit on the number plate, we've got a rabbit on the door. There seems to be a theme going on. You can guess what it is?
Rabbit, 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 rabbit.
However, the property did come with issues, from dark, outdated decor to a building site in the back garden.
But at least you've got a few little friends to help you on the way. Oh.
The winning bidders who snared the place for 190,000 were Malcolm, his wife Judy and son Matt, and they were all hopping with excitement to get going, even if they hadn't actually seen the house yet.
Matt hadn't seen it. He got called into work for an emergency meeting.
Yes, that's right.
So he didn't see the house. We saw it for him.
Right.
And
all the way up through the auction.
And I just went by the photographs.
And what your mum and dad said?
Yeah. I said, yes, we'll go for it.
The plan was for Matt to move in once complete, with Dad Malcolm carrying out the majority of the work. They'd given themselves a timescale of 6 months to get it all done. Well, now we're back 3 years and 9 months later. How have they got on? There was a house behind all those trees, and it's had new windows fitted and the front garden tidied. They also managed to get to the bottom of the solar panel mystery and are now the proud owners of their own eco power supply. Inside, it looks as though everything has been ripped out and made anew with lovely, neutral, bright white walls. They've put in a new kitchen and cleaned up and revamped the conservatory utility room. And upstairs, the bathroom is looking a lot less wooden. It's a vast improvement. The bedrooms are now both welcoming and fresh, ready for anyone to move into and make their own. The entire property has also had a full refit of its gas and electrics. And the building site outside is now a lovely private sun trap of a garden, thanks to a lot of excavating, a new patio and fence, and some familiar faces. Unfortunately, Matt couldn't make it along for the visit, but Malcolm and Judy are here to tell us how it's gone. Where did they begin?
Well, the first job I did was to get the electrician in. He then decided that the house was dangerous for the wiring. The gas man came in and wrote the gas off because there was a gas leak in an unearthed house.
Ah, those unexpected works explain some of the delays, and that must have had an impact on the budget too.
Initial budget we thought would be 10,000. It's come in just over round about 23,000, which when I look at the work that's been done on it, I don't think it's a lot of money.
Were there any other nasty surprises along the way?
Unfortunately, Judy was diagnosed with breast cancer. And that then obviously changed the whole concept of what we were trying to do, because it was more important because Jude had an operation and the whole house got put on hold until Jude was better.
Oh, I'm so sorry to hear about Judy's illness. Glad to see she's looking well, though. I hope that means she's on the mend.
Near enough top of the world. Yeah, more or less, yeah.
Well, we are so happy to hear that. So, who did all the work in the end?
It was down to me. Even when I tried to get some help from local tradespeople, they just never came back, they never quoted, and so the house you're looking at, I can honestly say, is my work.
There were a lot of people that helped us, lots of people that helped us. Young people, people just down the road, a couple of doors down. Without that sort of help, I think it's, you know, it would have been more difficult.
How do they feel about the project now that it's complete?
When it was actually finished the other day, I was almost choked by it. I just feel so proud of what I've achieved in this house, considering it's not my trade.
I'm really proud of what Malcolm's achieved here. Really am.
Let's see what a local estate agent makes of the changes. We've invited back the agent from our first visit to see what he makes of it now.
Since visiting last time, it's been totally transformed. It was so out of date and in shabby condition. But look at it now, it's wonderful. It's perfect.
The family decided to keep the kitchen separate from the living area. Does he think this was the right decision?
I think the owners made a very sensible choice of retaining the kitchen as a self-contained room because that's very much in vogue at the moment. Although it's nice to have a big open plan space, to have a self-contained kitchen is really quite popular at the moment.
So what sales and rental figures would he place on this property in the current market?
I think the property will sell for somewhere between £275,000 and £300,000, perhaps with an asking price of £300,000. And to rent would be £1,200 per calendar month.
Their total spend, including the purchase of this property, is £213,000. So that top sales figure of £300,000 could mean a pre-tax profit of £87,000. That's not bad at all.
So certainly 300,000. There's another house in the area that has gone up for more than that. I would expect a bit more with the finish and everything else to be a bit more.
And a rental figure of £1,200 a month would mean an annual yield of almost 7%. Is that what they were expecting?
I think his rental is spot on, yes. And I think that is a good figure, yeah.
The initial plan for this property was for Matt to move in once finished. However, as time went on, his plans changed, so the family are undecided on what to do with the house now. Have these valuations helped them make up their mind?
We haven't had the discussion yet.
Now it's finished, we can now talk about it.
And what are their plans now it's finally done?
Well, I've got a couple of vintage cars at home, and I'd like to get them both going and back on the roads. Yes.
I've got a huge list, despite the vintage cars. my huge list might start with the garden, but, oh, golly, it's another house renovation at home.
It's not as bad as this is.
Well, as we've shown you, the world of property developing has its ups and its downs.
Yeah, some projects go to plan, others are quite challenging.
So we'll have lots more highs and lows for you next time here on Homes Under the Hammer.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye.